Are you interested in buying your first multifamily rental property, but you don't know where to start?
Today, we're gonna break down the steps that you'll need to get started in multifamily real estate, even if you've never done a deal before.
If you haven't subscribed yet, then hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video every week.
Owning multifamily real estate can literally set you free financially so that you can live life on your own terms.
Basically, the kind of lifestyle that makes you pumped to get up every day, excited about life.
All right, so everything starts with identifying what is your strategy. So are you starting with 2 to 4 units? Like, are you a new investor? Or maybe you've done some real estate already and you're gonna focus on apartments, 5+ units. We're gonna focus on 2 to 4 units today. Just know, if you're focusing on apartments, we have tons of videos for you as well. All right, for those of you just getting started, the very first thing you need to know is, are you focusing on performing or stabilized, or the BRRR strategy or value add? So let's talk just for a minute what those are. So if you're the type of investor that doesn't really have a lot of time but you do have some capital, you can purchase something called a stabilized performing property. And let's just say, for example, we have a triplex. Triplex is 3 units. And if you're buying a stabilized performing triplex, it means there's already tenants in there already paying rent. So basically, you're buying it, and from day one, you're walking right into cash flow. That is gonna be in contrast to doing a value add strategy. And in the 2 to 4 unit sector, we call a value add strategy the BRRR strategy, which stands for buy, renovate, rent, and refinance. And the whole idea with the BRRR strategy is it does take longer. It takes more work. You're probably gonna stab yourself in the face with a fork a couple times because you're dealing with contractors. However, the benefit to doing that is that you massively start changing your balance sheet. Because when you do the BRRR strategy, the idea is you buy it low, you renovate it, and once it's done, it has a new value. And the new value is more than what you paid for the property, including the renovations. So now you're starting to walk into equity. It takes a little bit more time, takes a little bit more effort, but ultimately it's what's gonna help you become a millionaire faster. The other benefit is that you're gonna gain cash flow. So once the renovation is done and you call your property manager, they fill the units, now you have cash flow coming in. So you might wait a couple of months before that happens, as opposed to buying it stabilized. But it takes less capital, and when it's all done and you have that higher value, you can refinance the property, pull some of your capital back out, and go do it again. So the very first thing you need to know going in is, well, which direction do I want to go? Do I have some capital that I'm fine just sinking in and getting cash flow right away? Or maybe is my capital a little bit more limited and I really want to grow my balance sheet and start getting equity? Then you're going to look for fixer-upper properties that are 2 to 4 units that you could renovate, get filled up, get cash flow coming in, and then refinance. That's how you're going to start building wealth. So first step, choose your strategy. Then everything else makes a lot more sense as we go.
So the next step is choosing a market. Now, the first thing that you want to do, now that you know your strategy, you want to go into a market that supports that strategy, and you want to make sure that you're following the 1% rule. And well, what the hell is that? So for example, if you're going to get a duplex and you're looking at it, it's a $150,000 purchase price. You want to make sure 1% of that is what you're going to collect in rent. So that would mean you would need $750 in rent from side A and $750 in rent from side B. $1,500 is 1% of the $150,000. Now, that's not a way that you're gonna actually analyze the deal. That's just, okay, I'm in this market, I see a duplex for $150,000. I could probably get rents, market rents, talking to people, $750 and $750, sure, I'm in here, I'm in the right market. So then make your entrance. The next piece about getting into your market, some of the things that you wanna look at is, are the population trends going up or at least steady? You don't wanna see it declining. If you see it declining, then there's not enough people there to rent from you. And with less people, less rent coming in, you're kind of stuck like Chuck. So one of the things that drives population growth is job growth. So that's another KPI or a key performance indicator that you want to look at when you're in a market, looking at how is the job growth going, and usually you'll see a direct correlation with population growth, right? You want to see those on an upward trend. If you do, get in there, check and make sure the properties you're seeing are at that 1% rule, and then start reaching out, building that team, which I believe is the next topic.
Okay, so now that you know what your beginning strategy is going in, now you wanna start getting deals flowing in that meet that strategy. So when you're having conversations with people local in the market, realtors, brokers, wholesalers, and let's say that you're really interested in doing the BRRR strategy and building up your equity and your cash flow, the last thing you wanna do is be like, oh yeah, just send me whatever. because they don't know what you want. When you don't know what you want, you're not clearly communicating it to them. They have no idea what to send you. It makes them feel like you don't really know what you're doing. So since you already chose your strategy, be very concise. You don't need to tell them that you're a new investor. Hey, I'm new in the market. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a fixer-upper 2 to 4 unit that I can buy, renovate, rent out, and then hold for long-term cash flow. Or if you're on the other side of it and you want to do stabilize, you want cash flowing, then you're very clear about that. Hi, I'm looking for something that is 2 to 4 units. I already want tenants in there. I want it performing with property management in place. Send me what you got.
Make no mistake about it when you're letting them know what you want. Tell them what you want, what you really want. Cash flow. If you're liking this video so far, click the like button so that you can give us a little bit of love and we know that this is a topic that's hitting home for you. Okay, so it's no secret, or maybe it is for you, I don't know, but it's no secret for most of our students that we run our business based on relationships, right? We build relationships with realtors and brokers that help investors get into those types of properties. So anytime we're reaching out, we talk to them and say, hey, we're an investor. Do you work with investors? Those types of things. But what is it about having that conversation that trips people up? Like, wait, I have to call a realtor? Call a broker?
That was me. I was so scared. I was so scared of talking to realtors when I was new. It was awful. But what I found is working with a lot of new people, a lot of people have that fear, but not everybody. Not Jen. She didn't talk to anybody. But me, I was terrified. So I'm just gonna share with you a couple of the quick tips in case you fit into that box that will help you just power through. For starters, just know it's totally normal. Second, know it's a rite of passage. If you want to become a millionaire in real estate, you want the cash flow, you want the financial freedom, just suck it up and know there's going to be a little torture along the way, and that is talking to realtors when you're terrified to do so.
Yeah, you can role play though.
Yeah, totally, you can role play. But here's what I tell our students to do when they're struggling with that. I'm like, look, you know what you need to say, you just have to get reps. So the best way to do that without it like ruining relationships or it causing a problem is pick some other market, some market you have no interest in investing in, and basically call realtors and talk to them as if you're interested in investing in that market. It's gonna allow you to start to practice the vernacular, see what kind of questions they ask, get into the flow so that when you pick your actual market and you start making real phone calls there, you don't sound like you're brand stinking new. But even if you do, don't worry about it. Everybody starts somewhere.
So if you're somebody who's like, I'm shy, I'm introverted, I'm not too sure about calling people, put a comment below. I will personally give you tips on what to do about that, okay? And if you're like, I don't really want to call a market that I don't intend to go into because I don't want to waste their time, like, also comment below and I'll give you some other strategies that you can use to role play. Not like bedroom role play, but role play. Okay, so now that we taught you a little bit about how to select your market and know that you're in the right market for your strategy, the next step is building your team there. You might not know it, or maybe you do. We invest remotely. We've invested in 17 different markets across the country, never been to any of our properties. And because we do that, we have to have an ironclad system, right? And we have to build a team in that local market that can run things for us. Well, in order to do that, you've got to build your team. So first thing is, we already told you got to call realtors and brokers, right? Well, in this case, it's small multifamily, 2 to 4 units. You're calling realtors. You're not really going to call a broker for a 2 to 4 unit, just so you know. Also going to have to reach out and talk to contractors, property managers, because we don't encourage you to manage your own property. Don't do that, okay? That's the quickest way to become a burnt out landlord. We teach you how to vet and communicate with property managers. So you're gonna have to call some and have some conversations. You're also gonna have to learn how to interact and find inspectors. You have your realtor, contractor, property manager, inspector on your team, and you're hand selecting them and having these conversations, assessing whether or not they're the right person for the job. And then let's get them in and on your team and moving so that you can get deals in. And then all of them are a part of that process for you. That's really the secret. And if you want more information on that, comment below and we can get you one of our master classes that shows you our process for that.
All right, the next step in the process is you're gonna be analyzing deals. So there's certain numbers that you wanna get familiar with, one of which is NOI. It stands for net operating income. And the net operating income is basically the bottom line of the property before paying the mortgage. So it would be rents minus expenses. So expenses would be things like property taxes, insurance, maintenance, property management, marketing, utilities, things like that. So your net operating income is how does a building perform? How does the property perform? The next thing you want to look at is what is the cash flow? The cash flow is just taking that net operating income and then subtracting whatever your mortgage payment is gonna be. Whatever's left at the end of the month, that is your net cash flow. That is your net spendable cash flow. And that really is the focus that's gonna help you build up enough cash flow to be able to eventually leave your job or take your family on a vacation or really do whatever it is that you wanna do, but that's what provides the financial freedom. It is the cash flow. And then the third number that we are always looking at is how is our money working for us? So in any particular deal, we wanna look at how much of a down payment is required and how is that down payment working for us? So if I look at how much cash flow is coming in and I compare that to how much money went out in order for me to get that, that's a calculation that tells you your cash on cash return is X%. And generally speaking, we're always looking for any stabilized property to produce anywhere between 8 and 12% cash on cash return. Why would we take 8% on a property when we know how to get a 12% on a property? Because sometimes there's other things going on that make you interested in holding a property for long term. So for example, Jen and I have very strategically chosen properties before that have a little bit lower cash on cash, but still nothing less than 8, but it has a lower cash on cash because we believe that based on the path of progress that's going on in that city, the location of that property is gonna end up going up in value over time. Now, it still cash flows and it's still giving us an 8% return, so even if it doesn't, we're still good, and it's still a conservative way to look at properties, but we'll take a little bit of a lower cash on cash if we feel like the upside is there. Whereas if we feel like it's just kind of a stable area, it's not really going anywhere, we're gonna require a higher cash on cash return because we know we're probably not gonna get a ton of equity from the market going up over time.
Okay, so the next step is now that you've got this, you've got these deals coming in and you're analyzing them, you gotta be making offers. And I'll tell you, this is a numbers game. I say this all the time to our students. It's a numbers game. You should be analyzing a minimum of 25 deals a week so that you could be making 2 to 3 offers a week, maybe even 5 offers. Maybe you could make 1 a day. What would that do for you, right?
Yeah.
So making offers as you're doing this, you're analyzing it, you decide, you know what, this is a great opportunity, then make the offer. And I'll tell you, make the offer quickly, decide quickly, and move quickly because there's other people out there. It's a very big world and everybody's in here trying to do this. You wanna make that offer quickly, lock it up, get under contract, then you're gonna go through due diligence. The due diligence process is gonna give you the opportunity to get all the information you need. You can get bids on the property from contractors if you're doing a value add and you need to do a rehab. Get 3 bids. You wanna look at 3 bids and you really wanna compare. And then if it comes time where you're gonna get an inspection, get that inspector's report and the 3 bids and cross-pollinate and find out who's looking at what.
Yeah.
The inspector says I need this, but you didn't say I needed that, what's missing, right? That tells you, it's kind of a litmus test on how qualified is that contractor and is it in his scope of work? And if it's not, then you call and you ask the question, hey man, I had an inspector go look at this and he says that this is messed up. I didn't see that in your scope of work. What would that look like? Due diligence is where it's gonna make or break the deal. Let's just say you go and you do your due diligence, you find some things out where, oh man, I think I'm paying too much for this property based on everything that I gotta do. Well, then you go through and you negotiate a price reduction and there's ways that you can do that. I think we even have a video on that somewhere.
We do, a whole masterclass.
If you want that, just drop it in the chat below and we'll figure out how to get that to you. The biggest piece of due diligence that I want you to walk away with is remember, when you're entering a new market, you wanna make sure your due diligence period is no less than 10 days. Yeah. 10 days, okay?
And then beyond due diligence, you kind of have this time in between where you're just waiting to close and you're coordinating your financing, and then closing day happens. You're gonna sign remotely, you're gonna send the documents off, you're gonna wire your funds in, and either you're talking to your property manager because you have tenants in there and you're getting cash flow right away, or you're talking to your contractor and you're getting that rehab started. But either way, that's the process kind of from A to Z, but at a high level, so that you kind of see where is this all going, so you can start taking the steps necessary to build your own
cash flow.
If you do want to get into multifamily real estate investing, but you're not sure what's the first step, the second, or the third, you can click the link in the description below and a member of our team will hop on the phone with you and talk about your goals, your resources, and how we can hold your hand and get you to where you want to be.
The other thing we want to tell you is that we have a free Facebook group. It's called Multifamily Real Estate Investing. So if you want to be around people that are like you, on the journey, looking to learn, come join us in that Facebook group. We do tons of free education and content there. And every week, Jen and I make ourselves available for a question and answer session. It's live, it's in Zoom, we're face to face. You gotta come to the Facebook group, register, go to events, and then we'll see you there. But any questions you have about real estate, we're there to answer them for you.
So it's time to take action, all right? If you wanna learn more from us, watch this video, wherever it is. Watch the video about how to analyze a duplex and make offers, all right? And we'll see you guys next week.